Welcome to Cape Town, South Africa, and we're going to explore 4 or 5 really neat places here. We don't have that much time. Here we are coming into the harbor, and that's Table Mountain in front of us. We found this old part of town where the buildings were very colorful, and our guide told us that in the early days they did not have address numbers, so they paint their houses different colors, and that's how you would tell where their house is. They'd say, I'm the orange house with the green trim. Besides Table Mountain, Cape Town is also surrounded by this string of mountains with 12 peaks, and they're known as the 12 Disciples. Our first stop was at the penguin colony by Simon's Town. The African penguin, also known as the Cape penguin or South African penguin, is a species that lives exclusively in southern African waters. Like all penguins, it is flightless, has a streamlined body and wings that act as flippers and help them propel themselves through the water. This species has a distinctive pink patch of skin above the eyes and a black facial mask. At the beginning of the 19th century, there was approximately 4 million African penguins. By 1910, there's only about 1.5 million, and they have continued to decline. So the population in 2000 was roughly about 180,000, and in 2008 there was 5,000 breeding pairs along the African coast. These penguins mate for life, or until one of the partners dies, and the females will remain fertile for about 10 years. And as you can see, there's always one adult tending the chick, and some of those chicks now are bigger than the adults, or just about as big, and so they're getting close to being weaned. Penguins are fascinating creatures, and I find that they're on land, they're kind of clumsy and fun to watch as they waddle along. While leaving the penguin colony at Simon's Town, we found some ostriches. Here's a female ostrich that was just off the side of the road, and here is a male ostrich I took a picture of. It's not every day you get to see ostriches and penguins within a couple of miles of each other. We hired a car and driver for the day, and he kind of took us on a wonderful tour. We came down the west coast of Cape Town area, got out and took some pictures of the Chapman Bay. As you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous as we drove through there. And that's one thing about this area of South Africa. It is not lacking for scenic beauty. We finally got to the Cape of Good Hope. It is a rocky headland on the Atlantic coast of the Cape Peninsula. It's a common misconception that the Cape of Good Hope is the southern tip of Africa, based on the misbelief that the Cape was a dividing point between the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. In fact, the southernmost point of Africa is Cape Agulhas, about 90 miles southeast of Cape of Good Hope. The last stop on our visit to Cape Town was Cape Point, which we took this funicular up the hill because there's a lighthouse at the very top, and we wanted to get to that. The higher you go, the better the view, and soon you get off the funicular, and then you have to walk the rest of the way to the lighthouse. But again, the higher you go, the better the view. The lighthouse sits on a promontory that's about 1.5 miles from the Cape of Good Hope. This one's a little bit higher, which is why they put the lighthouse up there. But after a while, they realized the lighthouse was actually too tall because of the amount of fog that comes into the area. The ships couldn't see it, and so they built another one down lower. We had a perfect day for seeing the lighthouse. The skies were blue, very little wind, and just absolutely beautiful. This is a very dangerous place to sail your boat. There are a lot of rocky pinnacles that stick up from the ocean floor and are just below the surface of the water. In fact, if you look out there, you'll see water breaking in a few places. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. It depends on what the wave action's doing, whether the tide's in or out. It's nice to have this sign here to remind us that we are 12,541 kilometers from New York. After a quick ride back down on the funicular, we're back in our car and heading back into Cape Town, South Africa. Our last stop of the day was at the Groot Constantia Vineyards. And Royal Caribbean put on a very high-class wine tasting event for us. This vineyard is one of the oldest in South Africa, and the venue, the buildings and the grounds were absolutely gorgeous, and the music, they had a small orchestra inside the building. They had a couple of violin quartets going on outside. It was really nice. They had 3 wines for us to sample, light wine, rosé and a very dark red wine. But since Laura and I don't drink, we just donated our glasses to our neighbors that were with us. So that is 5 things I recommend you do if you're visiting Cape Town, South Africa. If you like our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel Around the World in 274 Days. Thanks for watching.